DPW Whitman DPW Building Committee 502 in attendance. Dave LeMay, Rick Anderson, Dennis Smith, Bruce Martin, Dave Cook, Kevin Cleary, Dan Salvucci, Mary Beth Carter, and Don Essen. I guess maybe the first thing, want to just go around and do introductions,
Sure.
where we get some new people, and then we can begin to do a couple items and
Okay.
go from there. Guess I'll start. Kevin Cleary. So I'm the chairman of the DPW Building Committee, and I'm also the chairman of the DPW Commissioners.
Are we going this way?
We'll go that way.
Dan Salvucci, Vice Chair of the Board of Selectmen.
Mary Beth Carter, I'm the town administrator.
Don Essen, I'm a committee member.
Scott Luke here with Construction Contract Services, and I'm the project manager.
Peter Haddon, Page, Building Construction, I'll be the site super.
Tony DiGianamasso, Page Building Construction.
Persano from Yali, Page Building Construction.
Gabriel Mayor, Superintendent, DPW.
Rick Anderson, Finance Committee Chair.
Dennis Smith, member at large.
Bruce Martin, Whitman DPW Highway Division.
And I'm Dave Cook, I'm the Board of Commissioners for the DPW.
All right. Let's do a couple quick meeting minutes on February 12th. Let's take a motion.
I'll hear a motion. I make a motion to accept them.
Seconded.
Motion second. Any further discussion?
Just this one, Mr. Chairman, just changed the spelling of Page Construction on the construction contract.
We're how far down?
1/3 of the way.
Oh, no I. BAGE.
Paper.
Okay. Any?
Picky.
No, I mean
I'd like to know who they are.
They're on the right page, though.
Man.
Couldn't resist.
All right. Any other discussions? All in favor to the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. I guess probably appropriate
Roll call.
to talk about
Special legislation.
special legislation.
Okay. So I'm calling the senator's office and the state rep's office every single week, checking on this. And I emailed last week, so I'd have an update for tonight. And just maybe 20 minutes before the meeting, I got a call. Actually, I called and reached Catherine Mullen, who said she wanted to wait till the end of the day to see if there was any other update. But it's in the third reading of the House. Now, what that means is it's already gone through the Senate for all the readings. It's been engrossed. It went over to the state rep side. It just has this third reading. And then I think it flips back to the House real quick, and to the Senate, and then to the House, and then to the governor's desk. So, no, I will not have a special legislation by Friday. Sorry to report.
All right, how about the check yet?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, no, water.
No, that's fine.
Welcome.
No,
Thank you.
no.
We were just talking about the.
Hey, Greg.
We were just talking about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The special legislation.
Special legislation.
Totally got funding.
No.
No, it's not special enough.
Not yet.
No, it's passed, gone through all the readings on the Senate side, and it's in the third reading now. I did find out that they are meeting in formal session tomorrow at the State House, and informal session on Wednesday. So I'm going to check back at the end of the week and see if they did anything with it there. But once it goes through all three readings on both sides, that means it's been checked, double checked, triple checked. But still, I can't say. I said, look, I need an answer. When? Approximately when. Give me a better timeline. But this is the biggest part of it, just getting through the three readings on each side, which it's done. So
having said that, so it's still a formality,
it's a formality. It's
but not an issue.
not an issue.
So that technically, if we break ground on Friday, we spend up to whatever we have, and then hopefully the legislation will be back by, complete by then.
We could spend up to what we
Yeah, like the
have on.
1.7 million.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to discuss as a committee, because we've discussed that before, and we did the partial NTP to get Paige going on submittals and all that, and the discussion of what can we award, you know, and maybe it's a follow up with town council just to
Mary Beth,
confirm.
We may need more. I only made 10 copies, thinking that was enough, but
Oh,
there seems to be a few more than 10 people here.
It's the same
you want me to
thing.
run down?
If you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Mary Beth, you want me to run?
Oh, it's the same one.
Sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to. But I
That's all right.
So, but I guess that's the question, because knowing Tony, and that he's a very nice gentleman, I've worked with him before. He was going to contribute all of his efforts as a donation to the town, as long as he could put his name on it. But I don't know if that extends beyond March 1st. Tony, did that expire, or are you still thinking about doing
What's that?
building the DPW?
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that launch and things on it?
Get the money.
Okay, so but then we don't have to worry about the special legislation. So, but no, I guess that's the question: is because we are at prime building season now,
Yeah.
and
And I know Paige wants to get going, and we want to get Paige going. I think it probably deserves a little follow up conversation as a committee, because we've spoken about it numerous times, and it was just for the paper part. You know, are we going to spend, what is it, 1.5 or 2 million? What's the number?
That's left?
No, that we actually have.
Available, that's what I'm checking
Okay.
right now. Let me just,
do we have enough?
Yeah,
I assume you guys all know Greg. I'm going to assume I know you guys have talked, so you guys all know Greg.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
There's actually just one missing.
What?
There's only one missing,
Oh, and he took one.
and he,
Oh well.
So I guess is there a motion to vote to?
Well, that's what I guess
I can't make.
I'll ask the committee, you know, what their thoughts are, you know, based off of it's north of 1.5 million. Obviously, we're not going to spend 1.5 million in even a few weeks, probably. You know, even a month. I wouldn't think with some of the initial kickoff.
No. Tony's quick. He was telling me that.
You know what I mean? So it's that.
He can spend.
He can.
And I guess the question, Mary Beth, too.
1.43 is what was in our notice.
Right.
1.43.
1143.
1143.
So Tony, I guess the question really comes up is like, if we were to release you at the 1.443, whatever the number, do we have like a 2-month run rate on that? Month and a half?
spent some of that though, just regular invoices. So
You're talking physical construction out on site getting
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
He's back.
Because I mean, you obviously have to mobilize.
Oh, I
It's
see.
like 2 weeks for mobilization. You want to do some demo testing and abatement and stuff. The question is we don't want to run out of money in the first month.
we're only missing one.
No. So the first month is going to be about 362,
Second month,
331,
okay.
and the third month of April is 802.
So we basically have 3 months of effort before we hit $1 million.
Yeah. 2.5.
Or the
Two.
1,000,004, excuse me.
Two.
Because we have 360, 331, 802.
So we wouldn't be able to pay the other two. So,
Not the full one.
so we get 2 months of work.
It's 1,143,000, not 1,431,000.
Plus,
Oh, with the name on the building, you were going to do something. Okay.
plus we've already we as a town have obviously spent some of those monies on
Exactly.
some
Yep.
invoices, some environmental
Yep.
things.
Yep.
You know, that doesn't. So
Yep.
call it $1 million for easy.
Right.
2 months.
So we have 2 months of work.
Yep.
Don't tell them they have 2 months to vote.
So, Mr. Chairman, through the chair to Mary Beth, did town council give you any direction with respect to waiting for the special legislation before moving forward, or did you ask the question?
No, so it was just all written up that no shovels in the ground until we got the, you know, well, we could spend up to the 1.143 that we, you know, had left. That they could do.
Right.
But couldn't go beyond that. And then,
So I guess what we're looking for then is a amendment to the motion to proceed.
Right.
Well, before we say that, if I may, I just want to make sure this is all on, because it's all going to come out in the laundry. Anyway, this project was bid like last August. Okay? Pages held their number, understanding that this was going to happen.
Yep.
I didn't, just as a courtesy, we should ask Paige, if this now gets pushed down another month, 2 months, 3 months, where does that, I think up to date, everybody, both CMS, HK, and Page have all agreed the numbers are holding. But if we're waiting another 2, 3, 4 months for special legislation to come through, I just don't know how much longer these numbers are going to hold. And that's what I guess one of the questions. Have you given that any thought, Tony?
No,
Okay.
no, because we were banking on starting to haul equipment in Friday morning.
Right.
Now, don't forget, this notice to proceed has a 15-day buffer in it, right?
It has a 30-day buffer.
No, I thought they got,
Right.
I thought they got knocked back down.
It got knocked down to April 1st.
So April 1st. So we agreed that,
Right.
that after 30 days, then we start getting compensated for time.
Right.
1 day for
Correct.
every day after the 30 days.
After
Right.
30.
Right.
So,
That's indifferent to what you were talking about as far as cost. That's something different that we'd have to evaluate at the time, I guess.
Right. So the exposure is only the 1 month.
right,
And if we went further than that, then
exactly.
we'd have to,
Yep.
if there were costs, we would have to
Yep.
discuss that. That's what the NTP was written, with the projected March 1st
Right.
construction. And then we wrote in, if there's delays after April 1st,
Correct.
those would be entertained as,
Correct.
additional time and thus
And
costs.
do you have a weekly or a monthly charge? Are you 10,000 a week, 50,000 a week? Do you have a ballpark?
I got a ballpark where probably anywhere between 15 to 18.
Okay. So for easy math, let's just call it 20K
Yep.
per month, per week.
Right.
So there's a potential if it's delayed by a month, we're talking $80,000, $75,000 to $80,000, just for time. That's before all the other subs and everything come back and say they want time. Because one of the other things that happens is, which all many of you know, is at the 1 year point, we get to send out the wage rates. And the wage rates do not go down. Well, I've noticed them go down.
No.
And
Everybody gets a
that's
raise.
from August. So this August, we have to send Tony a new set of wage rates.
Yep.
So I think we appreciate that.
But Greg, just to let you know, and excuse me, I
No, go
have to jump in, but so that first 362, Greg, is only bonds and insurance, which we've already paid for. That I was going to do a rec by the end of this week, just to recoup
Sure.
that cost.
Sure, no, that's I understand.
And then in March, it was just, excuse me, getting the site going, silt fence, stuff like that and stuff. Then we've got the temp fence, survey, mobilization, get the trailers set up. That was another 331. And then it ramped up from there. And I sent this cash flow to Neil, by the way.
So theoretically, they're not throwing a shovel in the ground.
Okay, this afternoon.
there.
I can send it to you too.
There's no shovel in the ground, so
Next week.
next week.
So to get to the,
So we have March.
Right, we really only have one.
There's really
We have 1 month of construction because, like you said, you're going to do a February estimate, call it, basically,
bonds and
for bonds and insurance as soon as
You're right.
we tell you to go
Yep.
ahead. So we have March
Correct.
before, and that we either,
anything
well,
happens.
we could pay a little bit. That's 600 of the million, but
so here's the worst case scenario as I see it. You're going to pay him for his bond and everything the first month, the 362. He comes out, does his surveys and everything, which is the 331. Then all of a sudden, special legislation doesn't come through or not. You're out, $700,000, and you tell him the package toys up and go away. That's kind of the worst case scenario. I don't see that happening.
worst case,
That's
yeah.
worst
That is
Worst
the
case,
absolute
and
worst
then
case
to be honest, that puts us to the April 1st. That's already in the NTP, which is already kind of
Yeah, just to clarify,
set. You know what I mean? That if he's not going to work as of April 1st, we kind of owe him anyways because that's what we wrote.
We're committed.
That's what we agreed
cancel
to.
the contract, he will also walk away with his profit. Okay, I'm not trying to be melodramatic. I'm just trying to. I think what I'm hearing from everybody, I think there's little or no risk with this. It sounds like the green, start is just a formality. It really is. But I'm just saying, let's put it on the table. The worst case scenario is, now on this job, if you cancel it, he's getting 20% profit. If he's just running the whole job out, he's lucky if he's scraping by with 2 or 3%.
There you go.
We know how the contract works.
I like how you think.
Yeah. So, no, but anyway, and there are limits we can, because the contract state how much profit is. So that's your worst case scenario.
I'd say there's no risk is a very, 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 very small risk.
Should we be having these conversations with Neil here?
Neil is on his way. He should
Scott's
be
here.
here shortly.
I don't mean to jump in, but Kevin, I agree exactly how you summed it up. We've already got the notice to proceed and we're out to April 1st. So come March 30th, if you say, hey guys, you got to stand down till April 15th or whatever, then we just have that monetary change, like you said.
It's already, contractually, it's already documented.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
If I may, I'm just looking at the balance. That full 1,143,271.15
Yes.
is available. The balance for the project right now, including some of these these bills we're paying as of today, is 1,256,361.48.
Okay.
But the 1,143,271.15 is whole. So.
Rick, did you
I
question?
think I was going to say it may sound strange, but we also may consider putting a placeholder on the annual town
Yes.
meeting. If we go into May with no letter or no special legislation, we'd be really compelled to put a warrant article on our new annual town meeting to get this funded the way it's supposed to be. It's like a backup plan to me. It seems strange to be even saying that, really, at this point, but,
But then it also seems strange that legislation has taken this long. Because you started this in November, October?
The special town meeting was October 30th. I overnighted everything and emailed it to both the House and the Senate on October 31st.
So it's already been 4
But then
months.
it was a little slow. The Senate thought the House was moving first. A little delay there for a few weeks. But even with that said, over the holidays, it's been a slow process. But what Allison Sullivan, state rep, told me is these are formalities, and it's for it not to go through. I mean, usually it's somebody requesting it not to go through on the town side. You know what I mean? So
But then the
it's
governor
just the
still has to
process.
sign
The
it.
governor has to sign it. So
Anyway.
until it's done. It's,
I agree with, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I just laid all the cards out. Everybody knows what the exposure is. It seems like there's little or no exposure. Worst case scenario, it gets delayed by a month or something. It's an extra 80 grand there. Hopefully by then, yes, I agree with you. I'd throw this on the article if we're still talking in March and it's not, nothing has come through, or April, put it on the thing, and worst case scenario, we get him pay his bonds, gets mobilized, pay him profit, and you say, shut it all down. So.
Right. I was going to add, I was thinking what you were thinking, Rick. What's the option? We have to look at what's the option. We said no tonight. What is that? So I think that has a risk right away and a cost right away. So why would we do that? That seems insane. It seems sensible to, give this a chance this month.
We have money in
Maybe we track it a little tighter. We got to talk about that. I think us, but
It's one-time money.
if we say no now, we're causing a problem right away, and possibly jeopardizing the project for a long time.
Well, I could speak for HK, and I believe I'm speaking for Tony
If
and
we
Paige
spend
as
it
well.
one-time money,
Sure,
the government.
We're all anxious to get
We
this
gotta check
project
it.
moving.
Of course, yeah.
We're not sitting here, Tony and I.
Yes, we
saying,
are.
Hey, let's see how we can delay this more. We want to be done. We would have been done yesterday if we could have, but we're just not there. So that's why I guess I'm just throwing everything out to say: could there a motion be made that let's proceed per the contract, start the ball rolling, get everything going with all the caveats that we just discussed, and we can articulate them again for the motion if necessary. I just know I have no rights to make a motion, so I have to leave it up to the committee.
Sorry.
I would certainly make that motion. I just want to recognize also the, the patience that Paige has demonstrated to the town in the delay here. So I would move that we proceed and utilize the funds that we have available.
Second.
All right, we have the motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Starting.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you. That's all great news. You happy, Tony?
Good.
Now you have an opportunity to lose your shirt.
I guess I'll go out just a little bit out of, we can do the invoices at the end. I guess, Greg, if you want to jump into your kind
Well,
of...
if you just want to do invoices quickly, because usually it takes me about 15, 20 minutes to get through the agenda, half hour if we have a lot of chit-chatting in between. But a lot of this is just formalities, just so everybody understands the protocols and everything, and obviously the committee can make any changes. So however you want to do it, Kevin, I can do it now, or we can get Paige out of here, or we can all...
Do we have a couple invoices, Mary Beth?
We actually have one for HKA.
Oh, that's
Oh, well, we can wait on that.
So if we want to hand these around, I gave one to you, didn't I? So.
Just progress.
Just the one.
Get us through.
So it's a progress payment.
Bidding. The bidding phase.
This is a pre-qual.
It's
Yep,
just,
that's right.
For some reason, we
Yep.
lost that line item on the previous ones, but yes,
Yep.
that's all we're at.
So this is the cost for to assist in the pre-qual process during the bid.
Yep.
And I see we have a letter from CMS recommending
Yeah, the cover letter. Yeah. They're
Payment.
approving it.
And this is all in the budget. All in the budget.
Yeah.
entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. Be it solution.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Kevin, how much is the invoice?
Oh, I'm sorry. 30,000. Do you want the invoice?
You want a copy of it?
Invoice number 22016-5. Sorry. All right. I think everyone has a copy of Greg's agenda.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. I also have a sign-in sheet going around, typically just for formalities. HK will prepare the weekly job meetings and minutes. They'll be posted online. We'll get into all that in a minute. But that's why I asked the initial sign-in sheet go around. Whoever's on that list, they'll be included on the distribution and stuff. Obviously, you always have access to get it at on bid does. So we've already done the introduction. Tony, you wanted to say any more, or Kevin, from either party, or whether you're good to go? Good. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is, this is the pre-construction meeting, February 26th at 5 p.m. on Essex Street. We've done the introductions. Item number 1, architect. So HK is the architect for the project in particular. I will be the project manager for this, and will serve as the owner's representative for the project, the OPM. All communications regarding interactions between Paige and the town should be forwarded through HKA. Obviously, the OPM will be involved in that as well. And so that at least there's clear communications. We will make sure everything gets to the town that's appropriate. We will not overburden you, because I do know Mary Beth called me probably about 3 weeks ago saying, I don't need any more notifications about submittals. I'm happy. And so we took her. So we will keep her, and whatever information needs to get that distributed to the town, we will. We will give you all the gory details. You can also watch the forward and back on the submittals too, Mary Beth, if you'd like. Okay, so you just asked, and I'll put it back on. So that's how that will work. Kevin, I assume you're going to be the project representative for the town?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll stay as chairman. We discussed at our last committee meeting Obviously, especially if it's during the day, I wouldn't be able to attend job meetings. Both Rick Anderson and Frank and even Dennis kind of volunteered to kind of be that designee for job meetings, or something comes up. Obviously, if it's got to come to the committee, then come to the committee. I just couldn't commit to being available for all those type of meetings. Obviously, Mary Beth, Bruce, and Dave are, working.
Right. Well, so, I mean, basically what we're looking for is, and you and whoever else wants to be, we can designate you as the awarding authority, because in the system there's a role called the awarding authority. We can decide which activities you want to sign off on. So, for example, the awarding authority, I always recommend, in addition to the contractor, the designer have to sign off on the requisitions. Typically, the OPM signs off on it, and you may want somebody on the committee to sign off. And if you say no, then those 3 signatures are fine. Same thing with like change orders, same things with like PCOs, and things that actually obligate money or make changes to the scope. We always encourage that at least somebody from the awarding authority, i.e. the town, put an acknowledgement on it, and you can be the brake to stop everything as well. Just because, Paige, CMS and HK say, this is a great idea, and we sign off on it, you guys might not think it's such a great idea that we have. So that's why I'm saying I would suggest somebody be on there. And then if you're the primary, we can make you two or whoever else wants to be the alternate. Understand that in the system, if you hold the role as either like prime designer or awarding authority, any of the alternates have all the same rights and privileges that Kevin does. The only thing you can't delete Kevin, he can delete you, but you can't delete him. So I would encourage that you have a designee. And Kevin, again, you can do this all online, so it's not even a big deal. But if you need an alternate in between, and we can get more into this as we start the process. But that's why I would encourage you, making sure you have the town.
I mean, I could be listed as the primary, and if we put Rick and Frank and Dennis as alternates, obviously pay recs and certainly change orders are going to come to this committee for approval regardless. Just like an invoice. So that would be the committee, and whether that's myself or another designee of the committee bringing it.
Okay. So, and then obviously the OPM on this, I assume Neil is the primary. Are you the primary?
Ryan would be the primary.
Okay. So Neil is the alternate. Scott is the primary. As far as the engineers go, Sims Manning McKee is the civil and structural, Seaman Engineering is the mechanical, John Murphy is the electrical, and you may have some additional designated consultants on this. What I'd just like to say to the Page team is many of the subs we have worked with in the past, many of them know my consultants, many of them have relationships on other jobs with them. As I tell all my subs and I tell all the consultants, and my subs are very well trained. They will not talk to one of your subs without first asking me permission. Because as I say, any deals that my consultants and your subs make without you and me knowing about it, they can pay each other. Don't even, So
Sounds good.
I will either give permission, say, hey, John, you can talk directly with Paige and the subs if you want to do the same. Because there are some times when the electrical subcontractor, I don't know what we talk about. And it's like, you just figure it out, write me a memo, tell me what and then you can either all agree or disagree at that point. So I encourage that. For the town, Mary Beth, I made you the contracting officer. Is that the correct person? Okay. So obviously Mary Beth will have authority to administer the contract on behalf of the town. And she will have final authority regarding contractual matters and settlements, if we need to get into any of that. Hopefully we won't have any of these issues, Mary Beth, and it'll just be entitled only.
That's what I want.
Okay, great. Page Building Construction is the designated contractor for this and is contractually obligated for the overall project performance. Tony is the designated project manager, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And the superintendent is Peter. Okay. Great. And the Peter, I think you're always set up on this. Okay. Is the superintendent. Obviously, Tony will have full authority to act on behalf of page and authorizing proposals, change orders, and everything else like that. And then one of the things that we will have to do, and this is really more between Peter, you and the clerk and the OPM, because I don't run the clerk, Scott. You guys will have to have a safety meeting, and obviously the town should be at that safety meeting just to go over the protocols and everything. One of the things you'll also be asked to do is your safety plan. We ask that you upload it as a submittal. What will happen is we will just say, we will review it. If there's big holes or something that we need to discuss, typically what you will see is no action required, because we were not going to tell you how to run your safety plan. It really just gives everybody an opportunity to look at it to see if there's any concerns or anything. So if you get no action required, don't take it personally. But it's not our, we do not have jurisdictional responsibility to tell you how to run a safe shop. And again, anybody on the committee will be able to see these submittals, and if they want to read those exciting safety plans, you're more than welcome to do that. Yeah. Friday nights, have a glass of wine. It's really, really a wonderful evening.
I think it's a bottle of wine.
Okay. So the subcontractors, I've seen you've been loading them up on BidDocs, so you have their contacts and everything, so that's great.
Yep.
So, I mean, typically if I will back up for 1 second. I mean, we'll be safe with it. We're using BidDocs for the system. There's been some correspondence between Kevin, myself, and the OPM. We are recommending, my contract states it, and I think, to have these meetings virtual with BidDocs so we can pull up all the administrative paperwork. That does not mean that we do not come out to the site. We will come out to the site. The difference is it appears to make it a little easier for everybody. Tentatively, we've thought about doing it at 8 o'clock on Wednesday mornings. You know, we should be able to get through it in a half hour to an hour. Maybe the first few are a little longer. But that way we can go. So like if there's an open RFI or if there's a requisition or there's a concern about a submittal, it's right there. We can pull it up online. We can do all the things. And then everybody can go their way. Then Tony says, hey, I need you out on Thursday afternoon to inspect the rebar because I'm placing concrete on Friday. That's when because we contractually owe you visits as well. Mm-hmm. But the idea is it provides the most flexibility to let everybody come to the meeting because I know that you all have day jobs as well. So that's why you'll keep hearing me refer to BidDocs. And anybody that's registered in it on the team, they'll be able to see all of this stuff. The only thing I will say is some of the financials, which you guys hear about anyways, are turned off on the system because typically Tony and a lot of the GCs don't like to have all the financials exposed. So only the signatories will see the financials. But that doesn't mean you can't get to them. It's just, you know, don't take it personally. But you'll see all the RFIs and everything, so you'll know exactly what's happening, schedules, and dig into as much or as little as you want. This system is very neutral on everybody's participation. It yells at the architect as much as it yells at the contractor, as much as it yells at the owner. Okay, and what I mean by that is you will see like RFIs come in, and I always laugh because the designers call me and say, "Can you get rid of that column with the dates on how long the RFIs and submittals?" I go, "Well, what's the problem? Well, it's been out for 60 days." I say, "What's the performance period?" 90 days. I said, "So why don't you just answer the question?" They go, "We don't know how to." And I go, "That's a you problem, not a system problem." So what Mary Beth was talking about, getting all the notifications, not only was she getting the notifications for the initial submittal was in, but if the submittal was late, after 14 days on submittals, 3 days on RFIs, it starts pinging the whole team. And what it does, which is nice, is because then we get peer pressure. Like Mary Beth would call and say, just answer the question so I don't get this email anymore. So it's very neutral and you'll all be able to see that.
Greg, can the BidDocs calendar link with like an Outlook calendar?
Not yet. Okay. But one of the things we do, and we can do it anyways, either Scott can set it up on Teams or we can do it through the BidDocs app. BidDocs has their own video conferencing. You just go to the calendar, click on the day with the name, and poof, voila, you appear. And that's one way. I know some people like that. Some people like to use Teams and stuff. We don't have Teams. I don't know if you do.
Well, no, yeah, I'm more, and I'll ask the committee too. I have one calendar that everything is in. And just like if meeting is going to be set up in BidDocs and BidDocs calendar, I want to have the two together. So that's
We're
all.
working on
I
it.
was asking if
We're
the
not-
two, if
Yeah.
I have to go to bid docs to log into the meeting,
Yeah.
I don't think that's an issue,
Right.
at least for me.
Mhm.
You
You know,
could just set up a
Yes, you know
Teams
what?
link with the
So, you know,
information. You know what I mean? If
I'm thinking for the
meetings.
committee, it'd probably be easier, at least for the job meetings, just to have it
Okay, well then.
either
we'll-
have some link or
If we
an
can
automatic
get through
email,
bid
even
docs.
even if it links to bid docs.
Yeah, we can just put it.
I'm going to guess everyone's using some type of Outlook calendar or something that if bid docs can't talk to it, then
I think Teams does it automatically, right? So
if we could look at that just to make sure, I think that'd work better.
Kevin, just to show, I have a nice big paper calendar on mine. That's how I run.
I got one on the wall,
That's how I keep.
but if
I
it's
don't
not in
write
here,
it, you don't.
if it's not in there and I don't get a reminder,
All right,
then
so
I'm usually not there.
We will work out the
It
details
just,
of
yeah,
whether it, so Scott will do Teams invite, and then you know, and again, just because we're on Teams, I can share the screens and everything, so it's not a problem. But that way, then you guys get it on your Google Calendar and stuff. Okay. But one of the questions I should ask, and then Neil said he was okay, then wasn't okay, but since you're fine now, is 8 o'clock Wednesday morning work for you? Does that work for the committee? I think you said it was okay.
Yeah.
I just want to confirm.
I mean, I'm very rarely I'm going to be able to attend job meetings that happen during the day. It's not going to happen, I think, for a lot of us. That's why I think we've
That's why
got.
I don't have a day job, so I'll actually I'll be able to go on site. So.
Okay.
That's kind of how we
So
talk.
you want to sit in the trailer and do the video conference?
No
Or you could
problem.
do it at home in your pajamas and stuff.
Yeah.
You can do it in the trailer in your pajamas.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
Frank, Rick, and Dennis, you know, are able to attend those meetings and you know at least hear what's going on. Obviously, we'll be getting reports back to the committee, and the committee will act on things that need to be acted on. If it's
what is
hopefully
the,
it's just invoices and you know simple stuff. You know,
what's the limit of committee members allowed without before it has to be posted?
it has to be less than 5.
Less than 5.
Okay. So
There's 10 of us, so 6 is a quorum.
Yeah.
So
But so let me ask you this
I'd
question.
say 4.
That's an interesting question, and I don't know. I've never heard of a job meeting being considered a committee meeting, even though there might be multiple committee. In your world, it still is?
I think it is,
Okay, because most towns don't ever
wouldn't
make it.
think
I
so.
don't think so.
I don't think so either.
either.
Never was.
We're not
No.
discussing business,
Never,
we're just
never
looking.
post a job meeting. No. And I've been
No,
at
But did
but
we
if
have
we
a
but if we
quorum?
had more
If you had
than
a quorum.
if we
No,
had
I'm saying if we had a quorum.
If we have a
Only
quorum.
if
never
we had
had
a quorum.
at a job meeting.
Right.
Well, I mean, so.
That's what I'm saying. We don't want to invite
don't
the whole
want a
committee
quorum.
because now we do have to post
Right.
every
Yeah.
job meeting.
Right.
That's why we were kind of saying there's Frank, Rick, Dennis
You agree.
that
You have to
you know
post.
3 or 4 people can attend.
But everybody should be put on the distribution for the minutes.
I would like to see the minutes.
Yes.
Yes, I think we could do
Okay.
that.
Yes.
That means I can't bring my
Well,
leaves?
Mary Beth, I will let you work out the legalities of that. It's just, I've typically never had a town concerned about a job meeting before. But I understand every town is different, so I will let you figure that detail out.
I think as long as we stay 4 or under, we're good.
Yeah.
Then we don't
Sorry
have
that
to
you can't go to
post.
this meeting today. Because the 4 are already here. You missed your opportunity.
I'd be surprised if
You won't
2
have.
people would
Right.
log in.
Right.
I would be really surprised.
I think Greg, we're going to be dependent, from yourself and
I don't think
CMS
it's
is
an issue, but I
designee.
just want to confirm that just so we can keep
Right, of the reports, certainly meeting minutes, the weekly reports that we're getting from CMS.
Bruce, I do hope you log in.
No.
Thank you.
Drop it. I'm gonna beat it.
All right. Next item, notice to proceed. We've kind of talked about it. Technically, the official start date on this was 1/24/24 with a contractual performance period of 431 calendar days. So we should be done about this time, 30 March 2025, assuming all goes well.
The clock starts March 1st.
Technically, the clock started on 1/24. It's the on-site work doesn't start till March 4th. That's what the notice to proceed said.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how it has, yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. Again, we've talked about all communications will be handled through HKA, and obviously, OPM will be copied on it. However, so that would be like progress schedule, submittals, routine, contractual stuff. One thing that we stress is items deemed important, such as accident reports. Okay, the building's burning or something. Notify everybody on the distribution. Last thing Kevin needs to do is be pulled over by the side of the road saying, "Hey, I heard the DPW burnt down tonight." "Oh, really? I didn't know that." So, key thing, I've never seen that happen but once, but accident reports. And then you've already started it, RFIs, I think we've gone through that. You've been doing great with the RFIs. We'll send those through bid doc. And do you use the forwarding thing yet to your subs or not, Tony?
I don't think she has.
Okay. So, interaction with the public. Again, use common sense regarding any interactions. This is more for Paige. The site will be occupied should an altercation occur with the public or the any of the workers. Peter, just back off, step aside, contact Bruce or whoever the designee is, and then. And most of the time, I kind of play Mickey the Dunce. What are you building? Don't know. Ask Bruce. Because I don't want to say anything to somebody in the public that runs within the wrong direction. So it's easier to just run when we interact with the public to pick a person. And if you want to be the person that we can send them to, it's just easier because there's political things that happen sometimes and you just don't want to.
They're always on Facebook.
Yeah, okay. Weekly job meetings, we just established this, and the question is when do we want to start the job meetings, weekly job meetings? I'm thinking
I'd say a week from this Wednesday.
Okay, we're going to start having stuff come through that we need to discuss with you. That's fine, if you want to do a week from this Wednesday.
I would say by the end of this week, we're going to really have quite a bit of stuff uploaded to you.
So that will be the 3rd?
No.
I don't have a calendar.
6th.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
8 o'clock.
All right, so again, anybody that wants to be on that list, we've got your emails and stuff, and we can deal with it that way. And if you ever want to get onto bid docs, some of you still haven't registered for bid docs, so if you have any problems, just reach out and we can work with that. The directory, again, project directory, that is, anybody can get the project directory by simply printing the print icon, and it pulls up the entire project directory. You also can download it as a PDF or an Excel, and you can do whatever you need to do. Peter, we just ask that you post the number for the local hospital. I'm sure it's 911, but at least in case anybody gets hurt or something, safety is important. Safety, cleanup, and security, again, this is primarily a directed towards Paige. You're responsible for maintaining the area in a safe, clean manner throughout the project. You are also responsible for security of all tools, equipment, and everything. When you decide what you're doing for barricades and stuff, if you could just, it can be with a crayon or whatever, just put your security plan saying, we're going to be having the fence here, I'm going to be zoned off this area. This gives Bruce and the town an idea of what's happening when, so if we needed to phase that. And I understand that it will be updated on a regular basis as necessary, but at least it will get started. And really the whole purpose of that, Tony, is if for some reason you're showing a fence 50 feet off the building and Bruce says, could you make it 45 so I can swing the trucks by? We just want to accommodate what we can with that. You'll have reasonably close access to the project for delivery of materials and stuff. Peter, I would suggest that you and Tony, or you or whoever, meet with Bruce, walk the site with him, talk about where you can lay stuff down or not, and kind of work the plan, because at our level, I don't think we need to get into the nitty-gritty. If Bruce has particular areas where he wants him to lay down stuff and it works for you, great. If it doesn't work, then But I will let you two, on a daily basis, kind of, and if it has to be elevated, which I've never seen happen, we will be happy to get involved, but in this case, I really don't see that being necessary. I assume you intend to have dumpsters on site page? Okay, and you can coordinate that with, where the best place to store those and everything.
Where'd you get that from? That's the
Because,
That's the
as you
newest
know, with
to
all
see.
sites,
No
mattresses,
one's
sofas,
site until that.
their refrigerators end up, but I assume it's all going to be in a secure area, so it won't be a problem. As far as the security goes, you're going to walk a fence every night. Is that correct? I would ask that you give them a key, unlock it in case of an emergency. Not that Bruce should be in there, your area, but that is one thing.
Yeah.
And if you have a problem with that, say it now.
We don't have a problem, but we don't want to have a tour every night or every week when we're not there, because then we have problems with our insurance.
We
Big
gotta
time.
tell Laura to stay out of there.
Well, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Technically, you own the site.
Right.
And just for those of you, and I know many of you probably know this from, technically, when Page starts that construction, they own the site. The town has no jurisdiction over that site anymore until they're turned over back at substantial completion. And again, it sounds more dramatic than it is, but that's technically how it works for insurance purposes.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
One, our dog pound is there, our dog thing. So we got to tell the ACO officer that don't stay out of there. She can't go
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
no access to that.
No access to it. If there's any,
I just was gonna say, we've had that conversation with her. She
Okay.
goes March 1st. She's
away from it, right. Second is, this is what the complaints are going to be. What am I going to do with my leaves? Is there anywhere or any place that the town is going to have disposal of leaves?
Yes.
actively working
Don't know
on it
yet.
today.
You don't know yet, because that's, believe it or not, it's either, are they going to pick up my trash today, and is the leaf pile open on Saturdays or whatever? Those are the big questions, and we don't want residents driving through like they used to. It's too dangerous for them. I mean, you work it. So, I mean...
So if I recall, because this is going to be a problem, the dog pound is you're losing power to the dog pound and water. And my understanding is the dog pound is going to be relocated or shut down for the period of construction.
Yes.
So there is no dog pound issue as far as I
Right.
understand.
Right.
Okay.
And in the leaf pile, like Bruce said, he's working on a place to put it
Okay, great.
while construction's happening outside the construction area.
Yeah, but we want to have a leaf pile so that you're not going to use like the community garden. You don't want to dump it there because then it's a mess.
We made an area
I
today.
will leave that to
Huh?
Bruce.
We've made an area today. It's we still have to do a few more things to it. But
So it's away from construction. People can get in there.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. So again, Paige will be responsible for their own dumpsters and everything. One of the things that you'll do is be posting your OSHA cards and your licenses. One of the requirements is you'll give me Peter's resume and you'll give me his OSHA card. There's a section, and I will work with Lisa on that, where you can upload all the OSHA cards and stuff. One of the things I'd recommend is tell all your subs, put their entire company's OSHA cards in there. That way, if Peter, Paul, Mary, Joe, Bob, whoever shows up, we're not scrambling for OSHA cards. Okay. And it's up to the town. I'm typically a hard ass about it. Am I okay? Because it is a safety issue. If you don't have an OSHA card on file and I can't see, you're not on that site. Because it's the law. It's not a choice. Again, haven't had that happen too many times, but there are some times I've seen a few stray workers come on without OSHA card. And the day we get, they're the ones that will get hurt. And that's, what was that? You're okay with
Tony's
that?
not coming on the site then.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's management. He doesn't care.
I'll be happy.
All right, and then obviously you'll be providing chemical toilets for the appropriate numbers and everything for them. So, and again, that's something that we can work with Bruce as to where you want them, and they can move around. Certified payrolls. And again, I'm going to leave it to the town. Typically, we see them get posted weekly. Some people do them bi-weekly. Some people do them monthly. It's your call on how you want to do it. There's a system in this part of the system that says certified payrolls. And what we recommend is that the contractor upload them, and they name them always the same, like ML Schmidt, and the date of the thing. Because then what happens, Mary Beth, when you get a call from the unions, I want to see the electrical subcontractors' payrolls. I can go click, 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 or you can go click, click, click. and in about 3 seconds, you can have all the certified payrolls for that contractor. Download it as a zip file, send it off to the union, and say, "Don't bother me again." You know, so it is very, very handy from that. And again, I think I talked to Lee.
Yeah, it'll be monthly.
You're doing it monthly.
You'll never ever get it weekly, Greg. No way.
Okay, so if you're going to do monthly, and again, I'm going to leave it up to the committee. Okay.
I like weekly.
But because here's all I will say. There's a gentleman, Greg Routledger, in the Department of Labor. He tells me, if you're not up to date, just give me a call because I have a staff that has nothing better to do than track down contractors. So here's my thing with you, Tony. Maybe we can get a compromise on bi-weekly. Problem that I see is I have the contractor, the concrete subcontractor not post the wage rates the first month. I don't have them the second month. So potentially, I could go 3 months before I see the wage rates for those. That's why we typically do it weekly, so that once I get a 4-week period, I say, get them up to date or I'll call Greg. Because Greg is just anxious for me to call him to say, chase this contractor down because I'm not getting wage rate. I'm going to leave it up to the committee. You've heard I say weekly. You know, Tony says no way in hell. Maybe we can get a compromise on bi-weekly so that at least we see them up to date so it does not go for 2 or 3 months at a time. You guys can make that decision.
I would have stopped at monthly because I think it doesn't have to align with the rec. Maybe that's fair and just. But I guess your thought is to keep them on track so you don't wind up with a scramble at the end of the month. But
well, something like a Griffin Electric will be right on top of it. You know, and the Rouger Brothers, a lot of these contractors are very good. They understand it because it's so easy. They do it. But you know as well as I do, Tony, there are some that it's like pulling teeth. It's literally pulling teeth. Now, I've played the game before. No wage rates, no pay. And I just deduct that off the line item. Not sure how that's going to legally play out, you know, because no one's really tested it, but it's my understanding it's not, you know. Ultimately, the town is on the hook if the wage rates aren't paid. And the reason is because you're the rich people and you have all the money, you pay the workers, and then you can go to court for 10 years and get your money back from, you know, from the sub or whatever. So you decide. I will just put it in the minutes, whatever you tell me. Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly.
So the exposure to the town is, there's a process. If in fact the proper wages haven't been paid, it could become a town liability. So that's my concern. Typically, in my experience, the clerk on the job is the one that
monitors
the requests go to give certified payroll. Is that?
Well, no. What would happen in this case, and the nice thing with automation is, Paige would upload the wage rates right online every week or bi-weekly or whatever you decide to do. The clerk then would review them and, you know, make sure that they're up to date and everything. And again, they fall behind periodically. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. But you don't want them falling behind month by month by month. And so that's why if you have them weekly or bi-weekly, you have less likelihood of them falling behind. Some contractors are going to be great, others are literally going to be pulling teeth.
Yeah. Do we do a separate log or will that spit out a log?
They'll spit out a log for you too. Neil's used
The clerk will review them. We're not the police.
Right. So, but they will be available on a weekly basis with the clerk then?
Well, they'll be as available
As
as how
they come in,
often
yeah,
they come up, yes. And so if they're uploaded weekly, he can look at them weekly.
Right.
If they're uploaded. Now, the other thing, too, that happens is, let's say that the concrete guy comes in and he works 5 weeks. He's supposed to put wage rate. If his work is not done, then for the next 6 weeks, he's supposed to say, no work, no work, no work.
Right.
Then he comes back on the 12th week and he starts up, and then when he's finally done, he doesn't have to do them anymore.
Right.
So
I'm never going to beat anyone over the head of not having a non-work certified payroll. You know,
you need them for the record.
eventually, right? You
Yeah.
got to send a letter that says I didn't work these weeks, but I'm not going to, you know, be, you know,
Well, it's like
talking to
I've seen
Paige or
most
tell
of
them to
them
get their
do
subs in
is
line because
they
someone
ju-
hasn't been on site for 5 months and didn't cement a piece of
Well,
paper.
the thing that I find most-
I like them weekly. I think because they're always going to be a little behind, just a natural, progression of payroll and accounting and all that. And, the weekly will turn into, okay, well, they're a few weeks behind. I'm just, with monthly, we're going to be month behind. You know what I mean? So that's why I like weekly. It just kind of keeps it a little more current, knowing that, I have subs that I have them the next week. I have subs I got to fight. So,
So maybe if you spell out the process for what happens, for the mechanic's lien goes to the town. If
No, so-
No, you can't lien a job.
Can't know.
Yeah.
So what
There's no
happens
such thing as
is,
a mechanic's lien.
Scott works for me, I'm the concrete
Public.
subcontractor. Scott and I are best buddies, okay? Whatever I do, doesn't matter, pay him under the table or not that supposed to do that. Scott agrees to sign the thing. Scott gets mad at me because he's dating my sister or something. So he quits. And then the first thing he does is he files the thing saying, I didn't get paid my wages. It's usually some type of ridiculous dispute like that. Very rarely do I get, occasionally we have found, you're paying them $65.10 an hour, and they were supposed to be paid $65.12 an hour. Those are honest mistakes, but it's usually the other way around of something happened, because everybody on the staff is management. Now, management, you don't have to pay the wage rates. So Scott and I are buddies, and we're working on our concrete company together. We're both management. We're putting out the forms and everything. Again, Scott has a falling out, and now he says, I was never management, I was a laborer.
The person that's on the hook for certified payrolls is the guy that signs them. When I sign my certified payrolls for my guy, I'm on the hook. If they've approved that I didn't pay them the rate, it comes on me.
No.
Yes.
In the end.
Yes.
But first it comes back because poor Scott now hasn't gotten paid the full wage rates. So they say to the town, you pay him the difference, now you go to court with him to fight it.
I don't think so. I've seen this happen.
Okay.
And the other thing here is certified payrolls. So let me just tell you, we manage this process probably better than most people out there. And I can give you people a call to verify that. But the reality of the situation is certified payrolls are supposed to be submitted from the subcontractors to the awarding authority,
Yes.
not the general contractor.
I understand.
So we do it so that we can manage it to make sure it's getting done. But it's not our obligation.
I understand that. And we can also do the same thing is, great, they can do it in both places. They can send them to you for the records, so they can get uploaded, and then they can send the hard copies to the, and we can play this game whichever way the subs want to do. Look, at the end of the day, it's just the procedure we have to go through. We have to just follow the law and protect the interest of all parties.
I guess all we're saying is, we've been through it enough to know that you're not going to get a weekly. You're not.
No way.
Well, you talk to the committee, and I am going to let them do, because it's called
Greg,
weekly
you can't
survey.
get them weekly. You can't get them weekly because the week they work, they're not getting paid until the
I understand
following
that.
week. So I can't give you weekly. Listen to me. I've been doing it for a long time. Okay? We monitor it, Greg. Like people who don't get their certifieds in, they don't get a check. Okay? They don't get their insurance. They don't get a check. We monitor it very well. Just let it go for a few months and you'll see how we do it.
Again,
Okay?
I am just stating what
We
the
got a
law
$19
requires.
million job and we've wasted 20 minutes on wage reports. Okay?
As you can see, it's such a sensitive issue for all parties. I'm going to defer to the committee. I've shared to you what I understand the law to be. If the OPM would like to throw in their 10 cents, they may, but it's ultimately up to the town on how they want to deal with it. Neil, did you want to throw in or Scott anything for this discussion?
Let the process play out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the subs have been through it, if
This is a
there's
decent
an issue, we'll just deal with it.
This is a decent group of subs here. We're not straight
Yeah,
up
right.
on the barrel.
Are subs sending them to you, or are they going to upload them directly?
No, everything comes to us because we look at them, we check them, and then we'll upload them.
Mr. Chairman, in the interest of moving along, do you want to just put a compromise for a bi-weekly?
Or monthly?
Yeah, and I guess, Tony, I wouldn't expect if a guy got paid on Thursday, you'd have a payroll to me even by next Thursday. All I'm saying is that they get submitted weekly. It's still going to lag even maybe 2 weeks from when the person actually got paid.
Oh,
or
yeah,
worked.
yeah, no, as soon
But-
as we get them, Kevin, we'll have them
The-
up
but the
there.
process-
But exactly, that's all.
Gets submitted
Yep.
weekly.
Yep.
Like there's still, it's usually probably 2 weeks from when the actual person was on
Exactly.
site to win the piece of paper.
Correct.
Because it's just general
Especially if it comes
account.
from a payroll company.
What was that?
Especially if a payroll company's doing their certified, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
Kevin? It's not coming from their company. So.
Could we just, for the record, say bi-weekly and we'll
Fine.
monitor and maintain
Yep.
it?
I'll make that a formal motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
All right. Affirmative action, there are no participation requirements, but you are getting no state funding for this, correct?
Not that I know of.
Just want to make sure.
I wish we had some Fed money.
I just want to make sure, because this just came up as another
I
project.
wish we had some Fed money.
Okay. Project sign, there is no project sign required for this project, however, I always open it up and suggest if the contractor would like to post a sign for deliveries or something like that, that's sometimes helpful on the fin. You guys can decide, is the page like to put a sign up saying you're doing this project or not, and I see no harm in doing it, it's not a requirement. Do you want to post a sign, do you think, project sign, with your name all over
I
the
would. I don't think we're going to put it all over, but we'll
No,
probably have
that's fine. So
something
you're
for
gonna put it
delivery,
like
like
that.
you said.
The
Yeah,
page,
exactly.
the page anticipates installing a sign, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, great. Testing. Testing will be performed by the town. These towns, yes, I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so we solicited for testing services. We reached out to 4 firms. We got 3 prices back. I can give kind of an overview on how we do it, but generally we ask the firms to provide half-day and full-day rates for various testing activities. The low price proposal was from UTS, Universal Testing Services, at 56.
Can I ask one question? What are we testing? We're listing out the different things, the slumps and
Yeah,
the
so we
rebar
have,
and everything else. Can we list that of what items are going to be tested?
Yep, so
Just so UTS can give a real
so we listed soils and earthwork, bituminous concrete, reinforcing steel, drainage, waterproofing, damp-proofing.
compaction.
So that would be under soils. So we'd have field compaction with the Troxler, Proctor testing, loam analysis, and soil sieve analysis. We put some quantities in the proposal that we sent out, so they'd all be, basically.
As long as they're listed, you don't have to go through them here.
Yeah.
As long as they're listed so they know what is required.
Yeah, and then we would coordinate, the frequency with the engineers on record. So the spread was pretty close. It was UTS, based on an estimated amount of hours and quantities was 56,060. Next was Geotech Consultants at 57,295, and Yankee Engineering was 62,065. We also reached out to Briggs, and they didn't respond. So we would make a recommendation to award it to UTS, and it's based on this quantity and numbers, it's a little bit over what we carried for testing, but we're pretty confident that we'll probably stick within around the $50,000 line item. Should be more than enough to cover.
What is the bill between them and GCI? $2 grand?
Last, yeah,
Okay.
almost $2 grand.
So my only thing that, just throwing it out, I have worked with GCI on multiple projects and stuff, but the bigger issue is GCI is the geotechnical consultant doing the soils and the the ground improvements and everything. So there is some advantage of having them both do the same, because then they're not necessarily duplicating the work. I mean, they're still going to do all the testing and everything, but we have the geotech working directly with the testing. And so with the delta being so small, it may be something to consider.
I've used UPS before. I've used Northeast Geotech. They all can do it.
So was GCI going to be on site for the ground improvements anyway?
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I've used them all.
I mean, I've used them all too. I mean, it's not like one is better necessarily. It's just because this one just happens to be the GCI is the doing the soils. It's your call. I'm just throwing that out.
Go with the number. That's what I would go with.
Fine. I mean, it just. Does that need a motion or anything, Kevin, to go with UTS or?
We should. I mean, no.
We should go for a motion, or we should go with UTM?
I'm looking for a motion.
Well, I like the line of thinking where the where the firm is on site and familiar with this particular project, right?
But that means UTS has to come on site too, so then you have two people looking at it, and they're cheaper anyways.
Well, UTS.
So I think that's better.
UTS isn't doing. So your scope doesn't include the ground improvements, right, Scott?
Correct.
So this is additional testing outside of the ground improvements.
Yeah.
The normal construction inspections.
As would it be with any firm,
Right.
right? Whether
Right.
it's GCI or whether it's UTS, it would all be additive scope and outside of the ground improvements.
So the question is, are we going to see any potential savings if they're coming out for the ground improvements? Hey, while you're here, can you do some soil compaction because they're placing some gravel or they're doing some concrete?
Well, I find
You know.
the testing is the testing is the testing, and I agree with that. It's really the communication, because usually what I've seen, like when we did Franklin Regional Transit and stuff, is the tech will call the geotech engineer while they're there and coordinate, like, we should do an extra test here, or don't bother to test that, or they can do a visual inspection and say, just stop, because that's the only reason I'd say that. Again, I'm not falling on my sword one way or the other. It's just more the internal coordination on the ground improvement. Concrete and everything else is just like everybody says. Test is a test, the inspections are the same. So.
I like the idea, like Rick said, that, one less. We have some common ground with the engineer. So.
Do we have an actual quote from them?
Yeah. Would you?
That's
Right here, if you want to look at it.
No, sorry, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't know that was the same
That's what.
company.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. So
They look like they're $1,300.
$1,300 difference.
Well, if he wants the job, he's going to get to that number.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like right now
We
we took something simple and made it difficult.
I know it.
They want it.
This-
Come to the number.
Scott's kind of managing it, right? He's gonna. I assume Scott's people will be calling. for
I'm
the
sure if you
inspections.
told them to take the $1,300 off, they will take it off. But again, and I will let Scott do the process.
I mean, yeah, the numbers, they are kind of, I'll give you an example. They're all over the place.
They're all over. Yeah, you can't compare.
And if that's the pleasure of the committee, then we will make it work with GCI. It's no problem.
Okay.
So Tony makes a call. Get him down to 45.
We did good work.
If it's, I mean, it is heavy soil. I'm just throwing this out there. Their half-day rate, GCI, is 400, and the full day is 600. UTS is 295 for a half day and 485 for a full day.
Yeah.
So there's UTS is cheaper on the soil, so it's like they have geotech engineer services 600 versus 1,000, and UTS is 495.
They're all. Yeah, they're all over the place.
845. I think they're on that summary sheet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get to the 20-minute mark and have Tony flip out again. So.
It was 15 minutes.
All right.
I actually disagree. Our
Should have brought dinner.
construction manager made a recommendation and then we twisted it around.
Right.
Like I'd be happy letting them manage it. We know UTS. There's also the concrete, the rebar.
Right. Best thing is-
I actually don't know this other company. You guys do, but I would say no. But you can vote 9 against 1. I'm just saying, let's listen to these guys. I don't know. They lost. It's that simple. Right? You want to start negotiating, then you're supposed to go back to the other guy. What's your best and final? So it won't end. I'm just one voice. I'm good either way. I won't be there.
Someone want to make a motion? I can't make a motion.
I actually would dispute that. We have to look at the Robert's rules. But
Make a motion with GCI.
All right, we have a motion for GCI. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other further discussion? All in favor of GCI? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I got a no too. I think we should go with CMS's recommendations.
So the vote was 5-4, right? That's 9 of us. Vote was 5-4 for GCI. So that's what we voted.
Moving on. All right, posting permits. The permit, I believe.
We got it.
Yeah, okay, so we'll just get that uploaded to bid docs and we'll take care of that. And by the way, just for everybody will be able to see all the test reports because then they upload directly to bid docs, so you'll be able to see all the reports as soon as they come out. All right, so permit, great, so that is closed, excellent. Okay, schedule of values. I know that Paige is putting that draft together. We've had that conversation. I know I'm further you're away from finishing that or not.
Just waiting for some of the major subs. That's
Okay.
all great.
That's
But I got the draft one out. Neil had asked me for it, so I got that out. And I did the cash flow today, and I will, Greg, upload that tomorrow. Do you want that uploaded on his docs, or you just want me to email it?
You can just email
Okay.
that and then we
All right,
can.
I'll send it to you.
Email Rick. And then break this down further after that.
Yeah, no, this one. Yeah, yeah.
Does that have all the breakdown, or are you still waiting for breakdown?
I'm still waiting for it, but I'm gonna upload this week.
So application for payments, again, what you'll see it's all online. You can comment online. Things can move pretty quickly. The nice thing is if an adjustment needs to be made, you can make them at the job meeting. We can all sign off on them, which hopefully will expedite the whole process because one of the things I know is usually it comes to the architect. He sits on for a week, brings his comments back the following week. Somebody else makes comments, and so hopefully this will expedite the things. But that will be on a monthly basis unless there's some unusual thing, that's a large piece of equipment or something that they want to do. Obviously, just stored materials. Everybody has different opinions, how they write the law, read the law, everything else. Basically, if you're storing materials off-site, we expect to have a canceled check, a bond, insurance, the whole hoo-ha-ha stuff. Some people do store materials on-site, which they would still be responsible, but then some of the, So we will deal with stored materials as they come. Monthly schedules and 2-week look ahead. So, under the contract, they're supposed to provide a monthly schedule, which they can update online. But I usually ask Peter, and it doesn't have to be fancy, it can just be a list, handwritten crayon or something, just a 2-week look ahead. Just general things like replacing concrete this week between Monday and Friday, just so everybody can kind of start looking. I do not expect a fancy Gantt chart, just the bullets to say what we can expect over 2 weeks, because that way we'll know if things slip or if we need to get consultants out or something. Shop drawings and stuff, the process has already started. I want to say there's probably about 30, 40 submittals that have gone through. Some have improved, some are still being worked on. Substitutions, we'll talk about that, tell me if there's a need, but there's a form, so on and so forth. Record drawings at the end of the project, they'll send us some red lines, we'll put them in CAD, mark them up, put them up as red lines. Typically, I don't know, Peter, would you keep a set of red lines on the job site?
He does.
And mark them up?
I don't want to answer from, but we just printed 2 sets of the conform.
Great.
Peter wants just kept clean for record, and he wants one for working. It's working.
Usually what I ask is the clerk, and I'll take a look at them kind of on a monthly basis, because we don't want to say, we think we put the pipe here.
No.
Record drawings.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, change orders and field order, field, directives and stuff. So basically, there's a PCO process. What the contract now says, and recommended, basically the general gets 15% markup and overhead on work directly for them. The subs get 15%. If it's strictly a pass-through, they only get 10% on that. The GC, and anything with a labor burden of over 25% needs to have the backup paperwork from the insurance and everything on that. Okay, and again, these will be processed. One of the things you'll notice, just because you accept the PCO does not mean it's an official change order yet, but we do that just so it falls into the bucket, then we can approve it as necessary. At least it gives everybody a placeholder, especially the OPM, because they can say, this is a potential liability coming down the road, and we can all agree on it. Any disputes, Mary Beth will be the final authority on that. Closeout, we can refer to the documents. Utilities, now we're into general discussions. So, Paige will have to arrange for any temporary utilities for the site and how you want to work that. There is power and everything to the site. I just don't, you work with the utilities on that.
Do you have a work order already established for the permanent power?
No.
Okay, that's huge. We got to get that going. That's usually the electrical engineer who starts that.
Not that I'm aware of, but we can talk about it.
Well, the
It
work
should have
order
been.
has to be applied for by the town, because you gotta set up
Yes.
all the billing account and all that.
Right.
You're also gonna need work orders to disconnect the existing services, both electric and gas.
Yeah.
And you need a work order for the new gas service.
Right.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Ben's discussion, I'm not aware of any work orders.
I hope there has been, because they will start at square one to design the power coming into that facility.
So,
National Grid.
we will talk about it.
Electrical might have already done it, Greg.
Again, I am not aware, and we've never
Okay.
pulled work orders on these things.
Okay.
So, and I've probably been doing it as long as you have, Tony, and we both have different experiences on that.
Is this
So,
N-Grid or Eversource?
And Grid.
Is there any means for like order of conditions or SWIFTs or anything like that?
Yep.
I don't see that at all in this procedures.
whatever was put in the specification,
Yeah.
I'd have to pull the specification out. We're not near any wetlands or anything like that. We're talking about the slips and the other.
No, but we're
You still have to have order
We're doing
conditions
it,
for,
yeah.
for
But those should
they're
be
working
in-
on it this week.
Okay.
Our site contractor. Yep.
Rob getting involved in any of this?
Well, we can handle the water.
He's been handling the permit, changing that over.
Water and sewer.
He should be here.
As far as the, the biggest thing that's going to be the challenge on here is the soils, and we'll get more into that.
Speaking of which, do you have an LSP on board?
The town has an LLC.
Okay. Can you send us that info, who that is?
Yes, it's Andrea Stiller, and she's in the directory, but I'll make sure
Okay.
she.
We're assuming that the LSP is going to need to be on site for all excavations, so like the utility
Again,
work.
the specifications spell it all out and everything. There's plumes where there's concerns. There's other areas where we're not concerned. We're building the great mound of Whitman in the back to avoid the landfill and everything. We've tried to do the best approach to minimize having to ship or anything off the site. So, doesn't mean that we're not going to have to ship some stuff off, but it's all spelled out in the specs. And I will defer to the specs, or we can have a conversation with the LSD, because I am not the expert on all these.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not aware of any of the town furnished equipment or anything, so we shouldn't be waiting for anything on our part. Field trailers were addressed in 15000.01, which was part of an addendum. So Work hours, I don't know if you have any ordinances here, but typically I say that they can work on an 8-hour day between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Does that sound, are there any?
I'd say that's
What
right.
about Saturdays?
Saturdays then would require a request in at least 72 hours in advance for holidays and weekends. Non-regular work days, you would have to arrange for. Because I know like some towns don't care if you work on President's Day, others do. Some towns don't care if you work on Veterans Day, and I know that you probably take a lot of the holidays too, but there are some.
Who would they need to notify in the town?
We
Mary, you?
would notify or the committee and just,
Yeah, the committee.
yeah.
No, probably
Yeah.
not the committee, because it'd be a complaint would call you, not the committee.
Right, that's why they're not.
No, but I guess if they on Thursday decide they want to work on Saturday, obviously we can't get together as a committee to approve
Right.
that.
It should go.
That would go through Mary Beth.
But I mean, if there's like a Veterans Day parade, if we have it, if it's our turn to have it, we usually go in that area because we by the
That's right.
cemetery.
I'd say, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
holidays
Okay.
will have to, obviously the town has pretty much all of them off.
Bruce will obviously
Love to-
be at the regular job meeting. The idea is that we just
Yeah.
want to notify the town in advance so the police don't worry about it or something. We will work it through. I don't know how much overtime Paige anticipates doing, but the idea is that we give you adequate notice so that nobody yells and screams about it.
Right.
You know, and it's just what some of the things work. So,
What hours did you say?
7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Change that to 6 a.m.
That I have to talk to the town because most of the
Someone's-
ordinances are
someone's coming.
7.
I don't even know if we have an ordinance like that.
Usually there are
I'd
terms
have to check to
associated
be
with
sure.
the issuance
Yeah.
of the building permit. So I would-
It's an,
Yeah, you probably have to get the
Refer
building
back to the
department
building
involved with that.
Yeah.
Right,
Huh?
I'd have to check on that
I
for
think
the
we check on
time.
that.
Yeah.
We do have some residents, there's not many, but there is a residential neighborhood off to one side.
I can check into that tomorrow.
Okay.
They have to do with
And again, let me just clarify, they could start at 7 as long as the jackhammers don't start at
I was
7.
gonna say, it depends on the work.
And if that's what,
Yeah,
if that's what you're looking for, but it's the noise ordinance. and
it's the
that's
sound, right.
Yeah.
Right.
You mean 6? Is that what
It's
you
six.
said?
Six.
Yeah, I mean, they can show up at 5 in the morning as long as the jackhammers aren't going till 7. But that's the problem, is the backhoe starts up, the
Right.
crane gets beep, 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 and then all this other stuff, and then everybody gets excited.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Let Mary Beth find out what
Yeah,
the
we're open
Sure.
to review it.
permit says.
Just as a reminder, Paige, you can tell all the subs that I'm the hard ass on it. You'll notice that all the trades
They say
have
work a whole Saturday.
why should you buy with Division 0 and Division 1. So if they give you some grief about it, just refer them to that. You'll see that's in every technical section, but that is made part of their work. So any of the complaints that they have or anything about that. Talked about using bid docs. Does the town want any more, and I'm just asking the question, some people do the cameras of the progress of the site, which has other implications, and then we'll have to work with Paige. Some people want any special requirements for documenting this from your end that you want. And I always say, be careful when you say, I want the camera there to watch the progress. Because it's great for Facebook and everybody gets excited. Contractors typically don't like it for whatever reasons, and you those of you who work in the industry know what I'm talking about. I'm just asking the question if you have any special requirements, and are you going to make any
A
special
live camera or progression
progression
photos?
camera? Yeah,
Progression photos?
yeah.
I
Well,
think they're needed.
There'll be progress photos of the project.
Right.
You're
But
talking.
but that will be prepared by
Yeah.
the resident engineer or myself.
Right.
But I mean, some have the live action cameras that sit up there and watch the thing, and they can do time lapse. And you can
I
go,
would. Neil likes to work with his shirt off.
Yeah, never mind that.
Yeah, we didn't identify the need for that.
It's a nice site for it. It's a nice project for it.
You know,
And you don't have to
what-
make it public, but
What we do on most of our sites is Frank will come out once a week or every 2 weeks and fly the drone over it, put a video together,
And
and
we
send it
can
out.
give that to always.
you can just
Cool.
upload it to the
Yeah.
I like that.
What about
Well, that's good.
security and safety of your equipment that nobody messes with it?
That's
You-
from
you-
them.
Right. You put fencing around the area.
That's it.
Yep.
Right. And I don't want anybody to get in there and start ruining your equipment. Not that we have that, but
And so you're talking about soil removal and management, it's a big issue. Next, excuse me, I have a question. Okay, then last but not least, which is probably the most important thing, is March 1st is the start date.
Yep.
Are we out of the building, ready to go?
What are you talking about? we've been working on it. You know, we had a little site visit last week. We've cleaned up the yard since you were there, even more. I think, you know, we could be out of there in a couple days at this point. Like, we've moved into the armory. We've made some, you know, improvements to the armory so we can work there. So now it's about moving the fleet out, which is just a matter of driving a bunch of trucks out of there, and then, you know, some other, you know, spare tires and stuff like that. But other than that, it's pretty well cleaned up.
Well, there's an area between the office building and the salt storage shed that we have to clear all the trees and stuff out of there. It seems like there's a lot of castings and pipe and block and stuff in there.
Well, talking to Peter, when we did a site walkthrough last week, we had identified that as a good area for us to stack all our stuff because it was going to be an undisturbed area for the project. And Peter identified an area as an area to put his trailers. So we may have to move some of the stuff that we just moved over there.
Yeah. I mean, even if we weren't putting the trailers there, we still need to clear
some of the trees. Yeah.
All that vegetation.
All the vegetation comes out.
Even behind the existing office?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I may make a suggestion, we have a phasing plan. You've got the map for the phasing plan. What I would ask if Paige could just mark it up again, red Sharpie, I don't care, scan it in, put it in, saying, this is where we're going to work on phase 1, this is the bounds and stuff that we need to do whatever, because we did a high level, but then that way we can coordinate the things, because I'm more concerned about the green block building and getting trucks and stuff in and out of that, because when they start setting their fence to start digging those foundations for the new building and stuff, you're going to be encroaching on that. And it's a matter of getting the turning radius and stuff. Because the front of the building comes, I think, within like 35 feet of that green block building, which means we're going to probably eat up at least 15 to 20 of that, which means there's only going to be like a 15-foot travel lane between the fence and the green building. So,
right, we'll be accessing the front doors, I think, quite a bit, going directly out onto Essex Street with our trucks. And like I said, we're moving most of the fleet outside up to the armory. You know, so we'll be the block building will be like where the guys go for the coffee breaks and stuff like that still, and lunch and like, you know, lawnmowers and things like that.
So if I can put you on the spot, Tony, when do you think the first shovel is going down in the ground? I use that term loosely. First hammer, first sledge. When is that? You're going to be putting up fencing, I understand.
We've got fencing, we've got erosion control, we've got silt fence. Right. We need inspection on that, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So that's our first week into it. We've got to, on Bruce's facility, we've got to do sewer and water, hook up to him. And then we've got to put a 10-day notification in for the abatement. And then we could start the demo of the building while the site contractor. I mean, we should have a full-blown schedule complete next week. Frank and I met, and Rosano met with the site contractor today. We went over some different things. So that's kind of the flow.
Well, I guess the easier question to ask is, when is the absolute drop-dead date that he has to be out of the building?
Yesterday.
We got to be up Friday.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I just want to confirm that.
Yep.
So, Bruce, I guess you're out of there. You're evicted on Friday. You're not even going to give him the weekend to move.
I mean, these guys are already talking. Like I said, they walked the site.
We've already walked it with
Dave and Bruce.
a couple of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Kevin, if I may, can we just recap what was discussed before Neil came here? Before Neil arrived, just on what was decided that could be done starting now with the money that's available.
yeah, so we still don't have special legislation. I'm sure you know that. But we kind of talked about it and still will start on March 1st. The MTP already had it after April 1st. Contractually, we would have to extend their contract. So if nothing happens by April 1st, and we still say by, hope it never happens, we'd have to shut them down because we might be already spent our money or close to spending our money. Contractually, we already have the language that protects Paige and I don't want to say protects us, but at least there's the language of how we would handle that. So that's kind of what we talked about as a committee and voted to get them to
Could anything be
move forward.
destructed or destruction by April 1st? Or?
It's like it's just value. I mean that's you know that's I'm assuming that's in his part of the 331,000. So Paige had given us they got 360,000 in bonds and insurance that obviously they'll wreck for soon. Their first month they're anticipating another 331,000. So that's what gets us to that April 1st date. We have a little over $1 million, so we still would have a little bit more money left. You know, I really hope we're not still talking about special legislation at the end of March.
You hope, I hope.
Hope we're not talking about it after next week.
If we go, we're going to Rick's plan B.
Yeah. If not, we're going back to the town meeting, which
Very good to be.
so that's kind of what we talked about. I think everyone's on board. We have the right information contractually. We're following what we've already all talked about.
I'm
Like I
just
said.
looking at this, just read this paragraph, this one, the contractor. I just don't know if I should, I'll let the contractor do that one.
Okay, I have a question. We have a starting date. Do we have a completion date?
Yep, if we start on March 1st
Administrative work on it.
and we keep going, never to stop, then it's March 30th, 2025.
And those are the contract dates.
Yep.
You think we're okay?
Now, the reason I asked that is because our new police station,
Mobilization March 1st.
when they were doing it, next thing you know, some other jobs come in, and there was one guy working, inside putting up some piping and stuff, and it was way behind.
Yeah.
And of course, it didn't cost us, but yet he started doing a crappy job of the inside of, and saying, I'll fix it later. I just don't want that to happen.
Should have hired us.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Good answer.
That was what? I don't know. How long is our police station?
We won't let that happen.
And Tony, just so you know, the town, HKA, and I think I speak for CMA, will not penalize you if you get done ahead of schedule. We may not pay you more, but at least we will not penalize you.
Yeah.
We've been waiting 15 years. We want it done as quick as possible.
So at this point, we kind of went through the formal agenda. I will open up to any of the town committee members if they have any other items they would like to add.
I just, one quick thing on supply chain and long lead time. Are there any long lead time items that you had to order? Or are you concerned about at this point?
So let's say 1 year. That's
Because I remember switch gears and electrical
Bingo.
equipment.
Generator, HVAC equipment that he's now getting all his submittals together, so we've been pushing him on that. The steel is where we feel comfortable with that. We've already confirmed a delivery date. That's good, even though they just get the anchor bolt drawings just, but we feel good about that. Things are getting better for light fixtures and commodities that were a problem back 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So we have a good feeling with that. But the electrician on this job, American, jumped right on their submittals. I thought they did a very good job to get the big stuff up front and stuff like that to us and then over to Graves.
Okay, thank you.
So who's the glass contractor?
Kefaloff. Yeah, and he's got both the glass
And
and
windows.
the aluminum windows. Even though it was 2 file subs, he was low on both.
Okay.
Yep.
So if there's nothing else,
Give him a nudge.
Yeah, he's
A friendly nudge at this point, but a nudge nonetheless.
yep.
You have to get Peter in Florida.
so if there's nothing else from the town, does Paige have anything?
I had one, Neil or Scott, do you guys have your designee yet of who for on-site?
We were kind of trying to wrestle around the start date. We don't want to bring him on so early that he's standing around looking at himself, and but I think we're good.
Okay.
I've got a request from the the director of facilities and the IP director of technologies. Technology director wants to sit down, go over some of his requirements, building requirements that he would have probably with you, Greg.
Okay.
And same with the facilities director. He would like to keep consistency with fire alarm panels, what we have here right now. I think he said a silent night, maybe a JCI type of automation system. Standard things in the industry, but just to get those on this committee's radar.
All right.
So
So who's the contact for that?
I'll send you their contact. I'll give your contact to them. They'll reach out to you directly. It's Josh McNeil and
Because I know Josh was involved at the get-go, because he came to probably 2 or 3, 4 meetings.
okay.
A couple meetings, yeah.
And then his counterpart Todd also.
I don't remember. Todd with the IT, or he's...
Todd is facilities
Facilities.
director, so again, just trying to keep some.
Okay.
Any other committee?
Who's the clerk?
Want to thank the contractor for coming and your patience working with us.
You get a few? I'll send it.
Okay. Right, did you have any things you want to add?
As far as the erosion control, sediment control and stuff, have these drawings been in front of the Conservation Commission?
They have gone through all the plan borders and everything,
So
so...
we can install per the drawing and then get an inspection afterwards?
Yes.
Yes.
And who's that?
Did they give you an order of conditions? Did they list those out?
I don't remember seeing an order.
Are they not on, they should be in appendix of 50 if there's on the site specs. Whatever we got from the town, it's gone through the various committees.
Yeah, we've gone from the Concom. Who's the Concom agent?
On the abatement spec, can we get a plan on the locations that are in the table? They don't correlate to what the buildings are being called. For instance, location 1 is called main building, then main building upstairs, large garage bays again, main building, and then maintenance building.
Yeah, so the green block building is main building.
Large garage bays,
Is the storage building.
so you have abatement at both. So on that note, then, you guys have a hygienist on board yet?
ATC is working with us. I don't remember how we carried the inspections on that. I have to check my contracts. Reimbursement, yeah, that's fine.
So we'll probably just shoot you a quick RFI.
Yep.
And then you can just identify which building is which. And then the other thing, is there any control points or survey points on site that we can use to link up the building corners?
I would say send that an RFI. I'll get WSP to give me what they use for the control point. I don't remember at the time.
And you're working on the CADs?
Yes.
Okay. Because we have to load that into the instruments to get out there, so.
Well, the Egyptians built pyramids without that CAD stuff. Can it work for them?
They have better labor.
I mean, that thing
Cheaper, too.
Better incentives.
I have another question. The fuel depot, there's no issue getting too close to it?
No, so the only thing that's going to happen with the fuel depot, which is a coordination issue, is there will be some fence reconfigurations somewhere during
So
the
they gotta get in
process.
and out.
Right. Then ultimately, the other thing too is there will be probably a downtime period of, could be a couple days, we'll try to do it on the weekend or something, where they run all the controls and everything from the existing block building into the new building.
Yeah.
And so there will be some downtime. I don't know if that can happen in 2 days, 3 days, or a week, but we'll just have to coordinate that.
Yeah,
once
with
we're
the
there.
police, fire, and
Yes.
okay.
But that probably won't be happening until early next year. February.
Yeah. It's coming out of the block building.
Right now, it feeds into
Yeah.
the block building, and then we have to reroute it to the new building, and they're gonna have to repool all the things,
Yeah.
because you can't splice them, so. Neil, Scott, any new business concerns?
Just wanted to ask the committee if they had any other thoughts about the website. Yeah, I know we talked about keeping it live and what information we maybe put on there.
How many hits have you gotten? You know?
3.
Really?
I actually got to check for you. I can find out and I can send you an email.
Yeah, let us know because if
Yeah.
it's not getting, nobody's looking at it.
Probably not right now.
They're all gonna look at the,
They will when it starts down.
Yeah.
speaking of which, are you putting the silk screen on the fence?
What is
that
it?
way?
Nothing.
Or you just wanna do
There's no
chain
info
link?
on it now.
Chain link.
Oh, is there, what website is it?
I mean, that's the only other thing the committee can decide if they want to be add, not much, you're only talking, is whether you want the screening on the chain link
If you
fence.
didn't specify scrim or anything, you're saying.
Yeah, we just
Just-
security.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't
Unless
recommend
you're
it either.
driving,
It causes more
Then
problems.
you
You
add
guys
the wind load and everything.
most of the work, yes.
It's always down on the ground after
Yeah.
a windstorm because of that.
If
You're-
you didn't specify driving,
You're off the road, you're
I
set
get it.
back. Scrim's a pain in the ass.
if we want something, we'll talk about the one sign, I'd say, which we haven't discussed, and we don't need right now, but
Just get it built.
yeah, let them go with what we got, I say.
Yeah, the website, I guess, I'll look to see. I mean, I wouldn't post more than some basic information. Yeah,
I would
monthly
take
update type thing. I don't know if that's what the committee
Kevin,
thinks.
save
If that's
yourself
even
some
worth it.
trouble. Take it down and see if you get any complaints.
There's not much I'd want to put up there besides like a monthly update. And is it worth it just for a 2-paragraph monthly update?
See where you get
Do
the
you want
hits.
us to
You know, I
talk
mean,
to
I don't
Josh?
know if
Is
it's
that
being
something we can talk
utilized.
to him to coordinate?
Yeah.
Because at one point he was talking about doing some other updates on the town website. I mean, if they're gonna
DPW
post
Yeah,
that
I mean, there's nothing says that we
monthly
can't.
update,
Yeah.
we can
Publish
provide
something just
that,
on
and
the-
it could get posted to the
Yeah, talk to
town
Joe.
website. You know,
Probably just as easy. A 2-paragraph monthly update is all I would want to really give any type of to the public.
Yeah, maybe a picture.
As sad as it is, nobody's cared about the DPW for the last 15 years anyway.
No, when we're gonna pick up the trash, the trash pickup, the leaf pile open, they do.
That's legit, though.
It's exactly reality, yeah.
2007, I think, was the feasibility study, wasn't it? The first feasibility study.
So Kevin, that's all I have, so
Okay.
back to you.
Anyone else?
On next meetings.
Welcome to Whitman.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for putting up with us so far. Next meeting. Any thoughts? We want to kind of just stick with like 4 weeks and do the end of March. We'll be in the construction for a few weeks. Just kind of, well, obviously we'll have some invoices probably.
Yep.
But we're definitely going to have an invoice from Paige.
I would coincide your next meeting with when they anticipate submitting their first payment application.
Good.
The committee is going to approve monthly applications as they come in.
Sounds like we're going to get one Friday.
yeah.
But it's only on
He's got to do them right
As long as someone can notarize it, I'm good to go.
Kevin, you could vote to notarize it as a not to exceed amount tonight.
I don't have
I don't know what the committee's thoughts are. I'm not available in the next few weeks on Mondays or
Kevin, but
Wednesdays.
that does bring up, whoever the awarding authority representative is and stuff. What do we want to do about like PCOs and stuff? Do you want to designate the committee as a certain threshold that they say anything under $25,000 of PCOs? Or where do we start bringing PCOs back to the meeting? Because if we run into certain things, is it all going to have to come back to the committee, or is there somebody that has authority to say, yes, we proceed with this one, or no, we don't? And I'm not talking about extra services and stuff like we want another wing on the building. I'm talking about there's just basic things that we hit. Like if we...
When we did the Avon Police Station, it was exactly like that.
Yeah.
The building committee chairperson had anything under 25 grand could approve it without having to go to meeting.
But I'm just curious whether... Because how do we do PCOs on that? Because we might run into soils, we exceed our, unit price thing, and now we have unit prices on them. But you know what I'm getting at. We might find, something that we're not expecting, more asbestos than we need.
Change
We
order,
want to
yeah.
keep it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's change order, but
Yeah.
somebody needs to sign the PCO, and ultimately, do we have? Because all the other towns we've done, they always have an authority level so that someone in the field can make the decision for them. Like when you give it to Bruce or not and say, yeah, we'll accept this 25, 50,000. You usually don't see it over 50,000.
I was going to suggest for anything, whatever we can do the dollar limit, as long as we have justifications from Neil and you, I'm good. Like just
Right.
go. But if it's a unit cost thing,
I can understand, and I can certainly, as a chairman, on some of the smaller stuff, I just have, again, I'd be dependent on the people in the field, just because I'm not going to be able to be in tune with the day to day. I'll ask the committee if they want to put a dollar value to it or what their thoughts are.
What do you think? 25?
Yeah, there probably should be a dollar value.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I think in that way it's clear. I mean, I can certainly do that, and larger ones or more complex ones, obviously, those would come.
About around 25 grand?
Right.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
At that and less, just I'll make a motion that we set it at 25,000.
To whose authority, Dan? To whose authority?
I was thinking the guys that you, Frank, Rick.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, as a chairman, I'll take the $25,000 and less if the committee's okay. That would fall as I could be this.
So the signatories the signatories for the awarding authority of the four of you.
Yeah.
Anybody for 25,000 can sign off on that. Okay.
It's for PCOs
Yes.
when you put
Yes.
me,
Okay. So
Yeah,
then
they may
what-
want to communicate with each other too, and then they sign off.
and then
on it.
above that would come to the committee.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Kevin, is there an alternate in case you are not available?
Yeah,
for
so
reasons?
Frank, Rick, Dennis, Frank, Dennis, all three of them have stepped up to.
so there'll be assigned alternate.
They'll be able to attend job meetings, maybe not everyone, but more frequently, and things like that. So they'll.
So what is the protocol going to be if we hit a potential change order or something that exceeds the 25,000? So we, God forbid, find an unforeseen oil tank there. It's
I think
$50,000 to take the tank out.
so.
We either
Again,
stop the process and have a meeting, or do you guys?
no,
do that?
a change is a change. They're gonna put you on notice. I would expect that you would notify us, and the work's still gonna keep going. If you guys, I would guess if you and or Neil or one of the other or both feels that maybe it isn't, then I think that should come to the committee. If everyone, hey, yeah, we found an underground storage tank. Well, we want to keep the project going, so they move forward, and whether it's a time and materials or forward price, then it would come to the committee just for a final approval. With, if it has merit, then you guys, CMS and HKA, would support that.
I think we found the underground storage
I
tank when we put the new fuel station in, didn't we?
I guess I don't have a right answer. If there's some
It's gotta be on a.
right, if there's something they come and say, you know what, hey,
No, but I guess my point being about the protocol for case by case. Okay, so we find the underground form. It's $150,000. Neil and I say it's a legitimate claim. Nobody now has authority to sign off on that PCO unless it goes to the committee. That's what I'm just trying to say. Do you have a special committee meeting and say, hey, we hit $150,000, so somebody can sign that PCO so we can issue the change order? Okay.
yeah, I think for
So
those
there'll
type
be
of values,
special
I think,
meetings.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
And obviously we'll kind of cluster things if we can, but
Right.
Great. Can I go back to one of my favorite subjects? Prevailing
would
wage?
that be wage raise?
No,
It's not payroll report.
which is getting paid. So I got a question for you. We do a requisition and it goes, and I sign it on bid docs.
Yep.
You sign it on bid
Yep.
docs.
Neil
signs it on bid docs.
Town signs it on bid docs.
Right. There is no need for a monthly meeting to approve that. Does that immediately go to
That's a
get
decision
paid?
they have to make.
I'm just asking. And second follow-up, is the town a 30-day pay or how quick is the pay? That's all. Sometimes we get it in 2 weeks. They
Right.
have to hit the, whatever they call
The
it.
warrant date.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
I mean, I could put these on the agency. That's not a problem. But we've been voting all the. Are we going to do that still? We've been voting all payments.
If I may make a suggestion, and Neil was there at that meeting with me, so I have a witness. We're doing the town of Hudson DPW to keep the progress going as long as everybody signed off on it, the committee gave them the authority that if the representative signed off, they could process it within a timely thing without necessarily having to, because those first few invoices
Yeah, because
have
time
not
is
been
money.
paid yet. But did I state that right?
You don't want to
That
solve
Eric basically has authority. As long as all the signatories are on there, it can get sent to you, and that's the question if the committee is willing to say, because you know what the contract amount is and everything. And it's a procedural thing. So that was just a vote that the Hudson committee took, so that so he wouldn't have to wait 30, 40, 60, 90 days for a payment.
I would think on monthly payments that someone from this town, I mean, maybe Mary Beth, maybe it's you, at least just signs it. You know, and obviously it's all electronic in bid docs.
And submit it for payment before
Yeah.
a meeting,
Right.
and then bring it to the meeting to.
Yeah. Again, that's the contract. The contract's whatever,
Right.
19 million, whatever it is. Obviously, PCOs we've established. You know, under 25,000, I'll take if it's bigger than that. It's going to come to the committee, so that will cover the added costs and things like that. We're under contract for the value. Again, Neil and his group and Greg and his group is going to say they're whatever percentage done. If they say they're done, how are we to argue that?
Right.
And Mary Beth,
They're out
usually what
there.
I find is, even if we signed off today, it usually takes 2 weeks to process the check.
It does.
If something in that 2 weeks happens, Neil or I or somebody calls you and say, hold the check, don't release it. I mean, ultimately, you guys have ultimate power on when that check gets released and dropped in the mail. So it's not, there's multiple safeguards to protect you from overpaying or something.
I mean, we got the invoice that we just approved.
Yeah, you could table that for 4 or 5 months from Greg.
Right, that one?
We can go back and talk about prevailing wages.
We got that on the 14th.
Yeah, right.
On the 14th, and we're just
I'm
meeting now
fine. I
to
don't know what-
approve it. You know
We
what I
should
mean? If
we
follow
should vote that
through,
obviously
yeah.
as a committee. If there's
I
any
don't
other
remember what-
Yeah.
So anyway,
thoughts or-
you guys
I mean,
are good.
we-
It's not an issue. It's just a matter of Hudson did it, where they just said, as long as all the signatories are on it, then they can pass it on to the town clerk, or in this case,
So you will have signed off, Ian Neal.
Neil would have signed off on it. He would have signed off
Yep.
on it,
Yep.
and one of the representatives would have signed off and confirmed.
Oh.
Okay. So there's 4 checks on it, and if we all miss something, then we just miss something. You know, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
So is that your motion, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll second.
What's the motion?
what he
See if
said,
we can restate it.
what Greg said.
No,
We don't need to meet
Right.
as a
Right.
committee to formally
As long as all the
process.
signatories.
That was key.
Yeah.
As
I
long as
question, you had a motion about the other thing first. Can you finish that one so I can take my minutes?
25,000.
25.
Oh, sorry.
25,000.
Sorry. Motion.
Well, I think it's all gonna be one motion, right, to all those conditions? It could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Can we
Yeah.
make it in all one?
Make it all one motion.
Okay, restate your motion then, so I can please
So,
restate your motion.
I know.
Yeah.
Anything over 25,000, from 25,000, you can sign off on it, and signatories will deal with what, any issues that
The
are
monthly pay recs
monthly pay rate.
will be processed. Monthly pay recs will be processed without. Monthly process payments can be processed without
A committee,
committee.
just signatory
Committee vote.
from the
PCOs over 25,000, change orders over 25,000 need a committee vote.
Mary Beth will sign.
You don't have to get notarized.
25,000 under
I can if you want.
will be processed by the chair.
Does he have to do the record one? No.
What's
And
that?
anything
They
over
have to do one
1.1
for
is an
record?
IOU, just for that.
Does the state care? Or is it just?
No,
us?
there's
Amy, if you want to take
Back it
a
up.
stab at that and send it to me, I can tweak it.
Not
But-
big.
I guess we're fine.
Motion by Dan, seconded by Rick. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
All right, now who can vote, who can read back to me what you just agreed to?
Wait for the meeting minutes.
Amy?
But I figure it out, I'll let you know.
So we're not meeting again or no?
You wanna go for the 18th, March 18th, it's third, according to my calendar, third Monday, I got a calendar.
That works. I'm back by then. Yeah, we can meet just as a committee and
Yeah, you said weeks, so not even.
Another who are interested,
It's-
Scott will send out the invite for
You're
the
scaring me.
March 6th meeting, and we're going to start weekly job meetings on
it's a bunch of Monday, Tuesdays off.
Oh.
virtually speaking.
So March
We changed
18th
it, never mind.
at
March
6.
18th at 5.
5.
Nope.
The only other, Amy has put in her resignation. She's had enough with us on the building committee.
I
So
can see why.
I thank Amy for all her hard work so far and getting us to this point. And so
Stick it in.
if anyone has anyone that would like to be our recording secretary, we have an opening.
If I may.
All right.
Melissa.
Melissa Maroney has offered to be the recording secretary, but
Okay.
it would be remotely, like she would just pick up the recorder the morning after a meeting, do the minutes, post it, upload it. Frank had some reservations that she should come and hear the voices and know the players. She's on a couple of other committees, but she said she completely understands.
And I don't think I certainly didn't get a definitive answer from Melissa.
Our Melissa. I asked our Melissa.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
But she dropped off the other committee.
Yeah, the other committee, she was getting $20 an hour, and she's showing up. So sometimes they were an hour, and so she her net pay was like $16.
Yeah. Can we make a motion to adjourn before we?
Yes.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Done.
So
So I'm gonna